How would it feel if you could have amazing energy daily? If you had zero health concerns for your future and fat was melting off your body like it was brushing your teeth in the morning? That's what I want to share with you guys today. My intention for today is I want to give you so much clarity when it comes to your food, how to have a healthy relationship with food, how to set your numbers for weight loss, how to actually lose weight once and for all without these diets, without these pills, without these crazy drastic approaches that don't last us. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure you feel the same way. I'm so sick and tired of seeing the stats where, so many people who lose weight always gain it back. It's so frustrating. There's so many of these false promises online. You take this pill, you'll lose weight. If you follow this diet, if you do keto, you'll lose weight. It's so much more than that. So that's what I want to share with you guys today. I'm hoping that you get out of this train today a brand new look when it comes to your food, and you came here and you got what you're looking for. So without further ado, let's dive right in. A few examples here to show you exactly the methods and the strategies I'm going to be teaching you today are exactly what I teach my clients. So Amanda, I think she might be popping in actually later on today. She's down over 40 pounds now, I believe, but at the time she was down 37 pounds. Kelly, I think a lot of you know Kelly. She's a part of our CH team here. She's down at about 53 pounds, if not maybe more by now. She's on the road to building a six-pack. This girl's on fire. We've also got Ashley over here, lost over 40 pounds, completely transformed her body, and was building visible six-pack. And we've also got Noah in the corner here, who Noah came to me, and he was a struggling alcoholic, and he was really down the dumps, and he's completely transformed himself, built a six-pack. In the picture, you can kind of see it, completely transformed his body as well. These are all very sustainable, very sustainable. Every single one of these clients to this day have kept their weight off and is still on track with their journey. Ashley, for example, she has done this over 3 years. 3 years I've been staying in touch with all my clients, over 3 years, and she still sustained her results. I'm going to share with you guys how to do that today. And I promise you this one thing. You don't need to make drastic changes to make some amazing results, guys. You do not need to make any kind of drastic changes. Like the saying goes, small hinges swing big doors. So let's dive in and let's get learning. So the flexible food approach, the steps that we're going to go over today here. Number one is we're going to figure out your numbers. I'm going to share with you guys exactly how to figure out your specific numbers for weight loss. So if you're wondering what your metabolism is, if you're wondering what your BMR is, your basal metabolic rate, you're wondering what your TDEE is, I'm going to share with you all of that so you know exactly where to start. Then we're going to build structure. I specialize in helping typically people who are over the age of 40, who are very busy professionals, workers, entrepreneurs, parents, and they're very, very busy. Very, very busy lives. It's not like you want to make a 4-course meal every single day. So I'm going to help you build that simple structure with your food. So that way this can be so much more simplified. Your routine can be something that you thrive off of, and it's like robotic. Okay. And you can feel like Kelly does every day, like a ray of sunshine of energy, just ready and buzzing all the time. Number 3 is we're going to be working through bad habits, and we're talking about relationship with food. And I might go off on a tangent on mindset because I usually do. We'll see where it takes us. And then number 4 is we're talking about the flexibility aspect as well, on how to become very flexible, and we'll take it from there. All right. So let's dive right in. So you might want to grab your pen and paper, and let's see, we're already getting some. Also, yeah, I encourage you guys to really be in the chat and sharing those celebrations, asking questions. Like, let's make this a connected chat. And I'm here to help you. I want to help you as much as possible. So please, whatever you have, we're all here on this training because we all want to win on this journey. We all want, very similar things, right? We want to feel amazing in our body. We want to have amazing health. We want to get this weight loss done with once and for all. So let's do this together. Share your questions, whatever comes up. I'm going to leave the chat open so that way I can see it as we go. And let's dive in. So number 1, figuring out your numbers for fat loss. Why is this important? This is important because you don't want to feel like a chicken with head cut off, right? It's never a fun feeling when, for example, going to the gym without a plan. It's not fun. It's very nerve-wracking. It's uncomfortable. Same thing with our food. It is so frustrating when we're trying to eat better, we're trying to work on our calories, but we're not losing weight, right? So that's the first piece here, is figuring out our numbers. What do we need to be eating for calories in order to actually lose weight? So number 1 is we calculate your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. Okay, so this is basically what this means is how many calories that your body burns per day if you do nothing at all. So oftentimes people think that they don't burn calories when they're sitting down all day or when they're sleeping. You do, because your body has to function, right? Me talking, you thinking, us moving our hands like this, it's all burning calories. We're all using that energy, right? Think of calories as the fuel to your car, right? If your car is sitting there idling, it's still burning up fuel. Same thing. If I'm sleeping at nighttime, my body is still functioning, still things are going on internally, so my metabolism's still going. So think of BMR as if you're to lay in bed all day and do nothing, this is what your BMR would be. So this is how many calories you naturally burn. So for women, we got the formula here. So if you guys want to take a picture of this, if you want to write this down, BMR equals 655 plus, and then brackets. I won't share the formula. I won't share the details because you guys can all see it here. But you want to first use these digits here, put your weight into kgs. Same thing with your height in centimeters, your personal height, and then your age in years. For men, it's a little bit different, but here's the same formula as well. And then that number there will then give you what your BMR is. Okay, so let's say it came up as 1,300 or 1,200. That is your personal BMR. All right. Now, number two is then we want to multiply our BMR by our activity level. And this is going to help you figure out your TDE, get closer to figuring out your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. This is the one that we really want to pay attention to. This is like, okay, how many times a week do I exercise? Get steps in, all these things there. And this is going to be really important because this is going to show you how many total calories that your body burns daily. Okay, so multiply your BMR by activity level. If you're sedentary, so you don't barely exercise at all or don't exercise right now, BMR times 1.2. And then just figure out kind of where you're at. I would say mostly if you're working around 3 times a week or so, like moderately active, I put in brackets here that you guys can see. And then you take that number that you got from the first one, you times it by 1.375, and then you got your TDEE. So here's an example for the ladies. Age 45, 70 kgs, 165 centimeters, and you're moderately active. BMR, put in the formula, that's going to give you 1,403 calories a day. That's how many you'd burn if you just did nothing. Then TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, equals 1,403 times 1.55, because moderately active, right? Equals 2,174. Here's what happens is this is going to give you an amazing estimate, a really, really good, very, very good number to your BMR. Or sorry, your calories needed to maintain your weight. If you eat 2,174 calories a day, and this is you, for example, you will not lose weight. You will just maintain weight. Okay, because this is how many calories are going out, and this is how many calories are going in that you're eating, so your weight will stay the same. Right? If you want to lose weight, we must eat less calories than what our body burns per day, because then that gap needs to be filled, right? Your body's up here, it's functioning on this level. So if you eat this many calories, right? So your body burns this much calories, we'll say energy, your body burns this much energy. And if you consume this much energy of food, there's this gap, and that's called the deficit. So that deficit is then, it needs to be filled because your body wants to be functioning normally. So then it will go into stored fat, right? Or muscle if we don't do this right. It'll go into our stored fat and it will convert that into energy. Okay. And it will use that up so that way we can start burning off our belly fat. All right. Burning off that stored fat. So think of your body fat as just stored energy. We need to use up the stored energy. Where a lot of people go wrong with this is they crash their metabolism. They go on starvation diets. They do the shake diets, the pills, stuff like that. And they drop weight very, very quickly at first. And then they eventually hit a very hard plateau. Usually I've noticed between week 2 to 8, if you do these massively strict diets, is when you're going to hit a massive plateau. Then what happens is that now you didn't just lose body fat, but you also lost so much muscle mass. You destroy your metabolism in a way. It's going to crash because your body's going to think it's in starvation mode. So it's going to come down, your metabolism, your BMR, it's going to adapt to the calories that you're eating or close. It's going to drop because your body thinks it's starving. So it's like, oh, we need to conserve energy. We need to conserve this body fat so we can survive because we don't know when the next meal is coming. That's basically what your body's thinking in this moment. So if you notice that you got a lot of fluid retention, if you have very, very bad energy, you only eat like one meal a day, maybe two meals a day, super clean. If you've got brain fog, if you're moody, those are all symptoms or signs that you're not eating enough food. So that is the first piece there that we really, really want to understand. The next where I've noticed the second piece that we really go wrong with this is the hidden calories that we don't account for or we don't believe matters much. That odd cookie here and there after dinner, right? That little snack here and there. We could follow the plan perfectly, but if that's not aligned with our numbers, we can easily, sabotage those results, right? For example, add in one granola bar a day. Let's say it's, I don't know, let's say a protein bar, 200, 250 calories, right? That could be half a pound that you could have lost if we didn't have that granola bar every single day. Because here's how it works with your deficit. So if you want to lose 0.5 pounds a week, you got to be in a 250 calorie deficit daily. Okay. So what that means is you take the 2174 and you minus 250, and boom, that's your deficit. 1 pound a week, 500 calorie deficit. Because it takes 3,500 calories to burn 1 pound of fat. Okay, 3,500 calories to burn 1 pound. So you can set up that way. Now, this is what I suggest is that you got to set this up properly because you don't want to start too low of calories because yes, you'll get fast results. But again, odds are you're going to end up hitting a plateau and you'll probably lose muscle mass as well, and especially if you're not exercising. So you want to make sure that you set up your deficit very, very properly. Don't overshoot it, right? Just set up in a nice, sustainable way. Okay, so an example, 2174 minus 500. So she's going to lose a pound a week. And that means she's eating 1,674 calories a day to lose 1 pound a week. So that's what this example would be doing. Okay, there's my daddy-o right there. So let's dive down here. Now, mind you, I just want to share an example. It does not take drastic changes to make amazing results. My dad, when he lost weight with me, he still drank, he still had his favorite foods and stuff, but we just got the portions on track. We just got the portions on track, made it very, very simple. He worked a lot, and boom, look at the body fat. The belly fat just completely melted. So number two. So first of all, if you have a question on number one, getting through that kind of the number side of things, put it in the chat and I can answer it for you. But this is important because this is like the base that you can start off with, right? If you want a calorie count, if you want to build your own meal plan, just keeping mindful of your numbers. This is why that's so important, is that starting point. Okay. Number two is now let's build some structure to this. So now that we know our numbers for weight loss, now we can actually build some structure. I can't stress this enough. Okay. I cannot stress this enough. The structure is so important. You can ask any of my clients who are in this masterclass right now. The structure is going to change your life. Okay, it is going to make everything 10 times easier. If you are a mom, if you are a very busy worker, if you are just super busy, if you're in school and working like some of my clients, you want to have structure. You gotta have structure. If not, you're always gonna feel like you're always falling behind. You're always gonna feel like you're rushing. You're gonna skip meals, and it doesn't help us. That's for sure, right? How many times have you found that you skipped your lunch to overwork, or your lunch wasn't prepped, so it was skipped, and then you found yourself going home through the drive-through or rushing home and eating a bunch of the carbs before supper, right? I'm sure a lot of people can relate with that. So, how we build structure. Number one is build it around your lifestyle, right? It's never one size fits all. Never one size fits all. You got to build it around your way of life, how you function, how you thrive, what feels in alignment for you. So number one, some ways that we can build this lifestyle out, this routine structure is let's figure out groceries day. You guys ever hear the 80-20 rule, right? Where usually 20% of your focus will produce 80% of the results. Getting groceries is that 20% focus. All right. Getting groceries is that 20% focus. I know just for me personally, if I don't get groceries on Sunday, then what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to be ordering food. I'll skip the dishes. Okay. Because I'll be starving. I won't have food in the fridge. And I'm so busy that I don't really have time to get to the grocery store, or I could order. But odds are I will just be so hungry. I'll just order, I'll skip the dishes. So that's the first thing. is let's get the groceries, let's get that healthy food in the fridge, get it out of the way. So that's number one, is when is groceries day? And then I would suggest, if you do want to meal prep, you don't have to succeed at this, but if you want to meal prep, add that as a like a habit stack. As soon as you've done groceries, go home and then prep the meals for the week. Number two, how many times per day do you eat? All right, figure out how many times a day do you want to eat. Yes, I am serious. Add structure to this, because this is going to help you. Number one, it's going to respect your circadian rhythm. Okay, so your body's inner clock. So when you start doing this, you will function better, you will feel better, you will keep full easier, your gut health will be better, everything will be better. Everything will be better. Your body will feel in tune. So that's why it's so important, figuring out how many meals per day that you eat, because you want to add structure to it, right? We don't want to skip our meals, and we don't want to wait too long to eat, because that's when things start backfiring, right? So how many times per day do you eat? And mind you, there's no right or wrong. This is what I want to share with you guys here, is that there's no, like, I'm giving you guys the general, and then we're going to get specific. But you don't need, like there's oftentimes people will say, like, okay, if you're going through menopause, you got to eat 6 times a day to boost your metabolism, or you got to do fasting, you got to do these things. No, I'm all about what works for you personally. How do you function? How do you feel at your best? Build it from there. Build it off of that. So that's the first key, or the second key. The third one is, when do you have cheat meals? So if you do want cheat meals, if you want to have them, I find having control, like structuring them in, really, really helps a ton. Really, really helps a ton. So for me personally, I'll give you guys an example of how I've been eating for my fat loss after. But when do you want cheat meals? Next, what do you like to eat and when? Right? Morning person or no? When's your workouts? When do you want to work out? How many times per week? All that stuff. I probably, if you just sit down for maximum an hour or so and build this structure out, it will help you so much. It'll build so much confidence as well, and you'll feel like you're making strides forward to your goals, because you'll have things on your calendar and you'll knock them off the week and the day, and you'll feel good, because, like, whoa, I'm moving forward on my goals. I'm making progress. I'm on the right track. I'm also sticking to my promises. And that's the number one way to build confidence and self-belief, is if you say you're going to do something, just make sure you do it. Don't stab yourself in the back, right? Because that's where doubt creeps in, and that's where all the mind stuff, the battles come in. So stay true to your word. And that's why we don't want to overdo it, right? Oftentimes, some of my clients will say, what? I only got to work out 3 times a week to start out. And they're like, well, what if I want to do more? And sometimes I will tell them, if I feel that it might be too overwhelming, that, hey, we shouldn't worry about that right now, because we don't want to add too much on your plate. Because what happens, guys, when we're overwhelmed and we're too stressed out, we want to just back off and freeze, right? When I have too much on my calendar, I freeze, I procrastinate, I get nothing done. So simplify as much as possible. Okay, now we want to put this together and build a foundation to your personal food plan. Now, here's the thing. Here's how I do mine, just so you guys have an example of how this works. So I'm at a point now in my journey, which I'm getting all my clients to this point, but I'm at a point now where essentially I don't count calories or any of that stuff there. It's all more so just intuitive, and it's very, very robotic. And how I do this, how my way of life works, right? This is for me personally, is I lost 40 pounds not too long ago, and on the shredding journey. And I never gave up pizza. I never gave up chocolate, nothing like that. Just to use an example, I had ice cream last night. Okay, I had ice cream last night. So just to share with you, like, you can still enjoy the foods you love, and you can have a 6 pack. You can have abs, that flat toned tummy. You can have it. I promise you, you can. And here's how my structure works, though. So Sundays is grocery day. Every single Sunday, I get grocery day. I put the ground beef that I usually eat into the fridge to de-thaw. Monday comes around, and then Monday to Sunday, how my eating structure works is I will fast. I put quote unquote, because I don't actually fast. I still have honey, I still have cream in my coffee, but I'll have no real food or meals all the way until about 1 p.m. or so. Okay, we'll say on average 1 p.m. I recently changed it up. So I will fast in the morning. I will survive off with honey, coffee. I keep very, very full. I'll do my workout, and then I'll have my first big meal. I take my total calories I need, I split them in half. But Monday to Friday, I do lower calories, because I have cheat meals on the weekends and I eat more calories, so it balances out. So my structure is 2 big meals a day, very, very, very high protein. I eat for fuel Monday to Friday. I don't eat for pleasure. I don't eat for cravings, none of that. Yes, last night I did. I had a friend over. I had that ice cream, worked around it today, which I'll teach you guys here soon. But Monday to Friday, I always am focused on eating for fuel. And it's lower carb, high protein. And then so after the first meal, my second meal is around 7 or 8 p.m. or so. And then between all the way up till 3 p.m. is I'm having caffeine to keep me full, and I'm drinking lots of water, salt, all those things there. So that's how my meal structure works. The reason why I do low carb Monday to Friday and I do less calories. So let's say I'm trying to get 2,300 calories to lose weight. During the week, Monday to Friday, I might eat 2,000 calories on average. And then that extra 300 times five, that will be what, 3 times 5, 1,500. I will have that extra leeway room on the weekend. So when the weekend comes around and I'm eating pizza, right? Pizza with stuffed crust, and I'm having my milkshake or something like that, and I'm having those cheat meals, I can do it guilt free because it's under control. I have intentions behind it, and it's all going to average out with my goals. And then if there's ever some week where I notice, or after 2 weeks of not losing weight, I will just adjust those cheat meals and I'll just eat less on my cheat meals. I'll just be more specific there. So that's how my personal way of life works when it comes to this. And again, I didn't count any calories barely when I lost these 40 pounds. I still had the cheat meals every single weekend, basically. And it all happened. There was not one stress. And that's what I really want to help you guys out with here today. So I hope this is all making sense so far. So here's an example of putting this together. Okay, let's say 7 a.m. breakfast, 40. So let's say this is one strategy I call the 12-hour time frame. The 12-hour time frame. And this is where you eat on a 12-hour time frame. So let's say your first meal is at 7 a.m. Your last meal of the day should be at 7 p.m. So that's 12 hours, right? And then so this is an easy way to build structure. Your first meal of the day, if you're going to do this and you're not going to fast, you want to have studies show that you're like 20, 25% more likely to just simply lose weight if you start your day off with a big, high protein breakfast. So if you start your breakfast off with about 35 to 40% plus of your calories for the day, so let's say for this girl, or the example above, be about 670 calories, you want to have high protein and good solid carbs. You know what a lot of us are doing is we're waking up and we didn't sleep good. So now our hunger hormones are messed up. And then we're going to grab a quick bagel that's, a white bagel that's not that healthy. That's going to spike with our insulin levels. Okay. And then we're rushing to work in the morning and we're stressed out. So our cortisol levels are stressed, like are high. We're just asking for a hormonal mess before 12 p.m. even strikes. This is why I want to empower you guys to take control of your time and your calendars. And that way you're going to have so much less stress and you're going to feel so much better and in control. And that is such a good feeling on this journey, right? When you're in control. So after breakfast, the second meal should be your second biggest. And this is an example of 3 meals a day, right? So your lunch, medium-sized meal, good protein. You want to have either light carbs because we all know what it's like to eat a pasta and just be like a food coma, right? So you don't want to have your pasta and stuff for lunchtime because that's going to kill your energy. The way your guys' body naturally functions as well, around lunchtime until I did a masterclass recently, I think it was like until about 2 p.m., your energy levels naturally take a little dip. So this is the time where you want to get a good, solid, high protein meal in, lots and lots of water, good, healthy carbs. You're going to have carbs, and then maybe your last dose of caffeine before 3 p.m. as well, right? Because we don't want to have caffeine after 3 p.m. So after that, dinner. Dinner's a smaller meal, and again, same thing, good balanced meal. Have your carbs and stuff. Don't worry about that. Don't stress about carbs. Carbs not the enemy. And then that would be the rest of the calories. So that I broke that example above. Broken it down here as you can see the calorie amount. So that is structure, right? That is some simple structure that we can apply. This girl right here, she lost 32 pounds. Look at this amazing change, the belly fat she lost. Very busy girl. She had a very high-end corporate job and a family, and her son was in university or college. She had a lot of play, a lot of stress. This was a game changer for her. This made everything so much more simplified for Tasha. So that's some structured example. So again, let's say they're doing groceries on Sunday and they prep their lunches for every week because they know that the lunch is the hardest part for them because they're so busy in the morning. So they prep their lunch on Sundays so that way they're set up for success for the week, right? Just giving you guys a live scenario example. They're eating 3 meals a day. They're eating on a 12-hour time frame. So this is what we call time restriction, guys, and not food restriction, right? A lot of us will do a food restriction where we cut out a food group like carbs. And I find that's very hard to sustain. There's odd person can do it, and that's cool. But I just find for the majority of us who like our weekends, who like your wine nights with the girls and maybe some cheese or whatever you all do, right, with your social lives, there's usually carbs involved. And for me, I'm a huge pizza lover, so I'm not giving up carbs. So the 12-hour time frame. So if you restrict your time, that's a lot better, especially a lot better with your food relationship, right? Now, next thing, let's say her hunger and cravings is at nighttime. So the easiest fix to do this is we change her last meal of the day to 3 hours before bedtime. So let's say she goes to bed at 10 p.m. On average, and she's struggling with the late night cravings, and maybe before her supper was at 5 p.m. We'll switch that eating time around, and that usually can do a wonder of things. And then brush your teeth after that meal. When you brush your teeth after your meals, usually that will trick your brain thinking like, okay, we're done for the night, no food, we're not hungry, we're good to go. Also, throwing out those snacks, right? If a smoker's trying to quit smoking, guys, they're not going to keep a pack of cigarettes on the counter because they're just going to be craving it. They're going to smell it. They're going to want it, right? Same thing with the snacks. Sugar and food is extremely addicting. Don't set yourself up for failure by keeping that snack and letting it live rent free in the back of your mind. Because eventually, you're only so strong, right? We're only so strong. That willpower is going to cave in eventually. So just make it easy for yourself and avoid it, right? Another thing, like another example for that is like, don't try to willpower your way through this journey. If you know, like starting out, if you know that going to social events is the worst thing for you, but you don't want to not give up your social events, I would suggest plain and simple, just eat at home and then go to the event after they're done eating. And it's as simple as that, right? Instead of going there and starving and just like looking at the food, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna eat everything when I get home. It's so much easier to just avoid it as much as possible. Okay. And then lastly was her calorie setup. So that is structure. Okay. That is structure. I promise you this will help you so much. If you are someone who likes a free for all, right? Because I find people with ADHD as well, this can really help. But if you do like more flexibility free for all, your option would be more so a power list. But we'll dive into that later. So, or another day. Okay, number 3, food relationship. As always, team too. So each family, if you guys have questions, drop them down below in the chat. Again, remember, this is what I'm here for, to truly, truly help you out. So any questions or concerns, like please drop them below in the chat if you feel lost or concerned, because now is the time. Like let's really get this down. So moving on to the next one is step number 3 is bad habits fixed in our food relationship. So I'm going to walk you guys through a little bit of the pattern and we'll take it from there. So when it comes to how it works, right? When it comes to any kind of bad habit, so if you have a bad food habit, if you find you stress eat, if you do get into, if you are a smoker trying to quit smoking, whatever kind of addiction that you have, there's always the same consistent pattern to it. Okay, number 1 is the trigger. Number 2 is the action. Number 3 is the reward, and then number 4 is the guilt and shame, and the pattern just repeats if we don't change it. Right? So I added in number 4 there that's number 4 is a part of the process if we don't change it. Okay? So that's how it all works, right? Let's say a smoker is trying to quit smoking. The trigger for them might be that they have a habit where every lunch hour at work, they go out for a cigarette. So as soon as lunch comes around, that clock ticks, they're thinking about smoking that cigarette. Action is they give in to smoking the cigarette. The reward is the feeling that they get from the cigarette, right? If you're a stress eater, the trigger is the stress that you had at work. The action is when your whole family's asleep at night, you go to the counter and you start snacking, right? To relieve that stress, to get a little bit of your me time back. The reward is you get some comfort from it, right? Carbs will naturally make us feel comfortable. And then sadly, the guilt and shame, right? If it's not intentional and controlled. And the pattern repeats. So here's how we fix it. The fix is the RRR method. Okay. And then also number 2 is set yourself up for success before. And then number 3 is being your own best friend after. BYOBF. Be your own best friend. So how this works for you guys is the RRR method is number 1 is you want to reflect. Okay. You want to reflect to find the pattern. You want to reflect to find the pattern of that you're in. A lot of us, we live off patterns. So find that pattern. Okay, so let's go through an example. Um, I'll share an example of one of my clients. She healed her food relationship in 2 months of getting started, and she's dropped over like 20 pounds or so by now. She's doing amazing. Um, so her pattern was stress eating and emotional eating and comfort eating. Okay. And it was all these bundled up emotions. So let's say, for example, work was a trigger. Okay. So work was the trigger and she had no food structure at the time. So it's kind of a free for all. So work would stress her out. So that was the first piece is she would reflect. So she found the pattern. Oh my gosh. Okay. I would go to work. I would just so stressed out. I would come home and I would instantly, binge the counter of carbs for my kids' snacks. And that was the pattern that she was stuck in. And then she would feel better and then she'd feel guilty about it after, right? So that's step number one is reflect and find the pattern. Number two is we need to replacing the action. Her action beforehand was to give into the stress eating. Now her action is to make her healthy meal. Okay, so now that she has structure and she has a food planning set up for success, now she's going to have a healthy meal. But also, she's also moving her body and exercising. Okay, so for example, let's say you get really stressed out at work. You know that work is your trigger, right? You know that work is your trigger. Then your action, let's say, is stressing when you get home. The easiest way to replace this is bring a gym bag to work. And then as soon as you're done work, put your gym clothes on or put your gym shoes on and go for a 10-minute walk. Do a jog if you can. I remember growing up, this was a huge thing. Like my dad would always promote, move your body whenever you're stressed out, like move your body, run your guts out, do push-ups until you can't do push-ups anymore. You would always push that to release that stress and don't bundle it up and don't keep it inside because that's where disease, that's where sadness, that's where it gets picked up and it's eventually got to get released somehow, right? So movement is so good. Like the saying goes, exhaust the body so you can tame your mind, right? Super good, especially if you have ADHD. So that's the action. So let's say after work, now we're going to start doing walks and we're going to have a protein shake. Awesome. You're going to go for that walk and you're going to find you're going to come back to ground. You're going to feel a lot better, a lot less stressed out. Maybe put some nature music on. Studies show that it helps with your cortisol levels. And then really, really get back down grounded. Have a protein shake to keep you full. You go home. You broke the pattern. Awesome. But it's not over yet. Number three is now you have to reinforce. So this is by consistency, right? We can't just do this once and it's fixed. You're going to mess up. Expect to mess up, but expect to be your own best friend. Okay, so we got to reward ourselves when we are consistent with it. Reward yourself with positive things, right? Don't reward yourself with a cheat meal. Reward yourself with a new pair of gym shoes. Reward yourself with, getting a personal training session. Something positive for your goals. You want to reward yourself. Okay, and then repeat that until it's broken, and the new pattern becomes stressed at work. I always work out after work. I go home feeling amazing, and my family's super happy with me. I'm not yelling at them and coming after them, right? So then number four is defeated. It's gone. Okay. So that's how the RRR method works. So reflect, replace, reinforce. Huge, huge game changer. Now, here is, so an example. So the pattern is right there. So now the before though. So this is the few things I added into this method here is controlling the before. So controlling the before is going to be so powerful for you, right? And this is through morning ritual to get you in your higher state, meditation, breathing practices, staying grounded, sleeping well. Let me break this down. So one of my clients, she had an unhealthy relationship with her food, and she also had a lot of mind chatter going on. When I say mind chatter, that can be anxiety, that can be worrying, that can be a lot of doubt, that can be a lot of fear, that can be a lot of negative self-talk that you have going on. A lot of negative mind chatter. Another way I explain it is it's the little devil on your shoulder, right? Creeping in. Very good at convincing, isn't it? Right? Hey, you worked so hard today. You're so tired. Your knees are a little bit sore. Why don't we skip the gym today? Just choke that thing out, right? It doesn't help us. So this is why we want to control the before, okay? So controlling the before, number one, this helped my client so much with the relationship with food. And mind you guys, this is a big deal. This is going off this poor girl's life for almost her whole life. Like almost her whole entire life, she's felt this way and dealt with this. So one of the most transformational things for her was getting that peace in her mind. controlling it before it even happens. So before the stress even happens to you, let's get in control. Let's get into an amazing state. Because imagine you're driving on the highway. We're going through that routine that I mentioned where you wake up, you're rushing to work, you're stressed out, you're in the traffic, you're screaming at people, getting to work, and then your boss just loads on you, right? And it's just like just throwing stuff at you. And it's just like, I can't handle this. I am so stressed out. And then we go take action in the worst way because stress never influences good actions most of the time, right? If we don't properly set it up properly. So the thing that helped her so much was number one is we set up a morning ritual. Okay. We set up a morning ritual of journaling out how she's feeling for the day. Because let me ask you guys this. How many of you wake up and within the first 30 seconds to 60 seconds of your day, you already start worrying or thinking about past things and past thoughts? Your poor body, your poor brain, your body is experiencing those events over and over and over again because your brain doesn't know if it's in the past, present, or the future. So when we think about that, a thought held for 7 seconds creates an emotional experience. And then your body starts experiencing this. So if it was a stressful event and we're thinking about it over and over again, your body's in a constant fight or flight mode. It's not functioning optimally. Okay. So morning rituals. So she really dove into the meditation. Now, the reason why these are all important, like the morning ritual, the meditation, you can do morning workouts, morning nature walks, breathing practices, staying grounded, and then sleeping well. Cut out the sleeping well for a second, but those other things that I mentioned, they're so powerful for you because what they do is they allow you to sit in the seat of the observer. And what that means is that it shows you that you are not your thoughts. All this negative thoughts you have about yourself and these fears and these doubts are not actually you. It's all illusions and fake. It's up here, right? Meditation puts us back here so we can observe it and not react to it. The reason why that's so helpful with stress eating in your food relationship is because when do you mess up? You mess up when maybe you're going through emotional time, you're really stressed out, fear, doubt, all this stuff, right? We get careless, whatever it may be. So when we can sit in that seat of the observer and we can observe our thoughts and not react to our thoughts, now we can take controlled action. And controlled action creates confidence and self-belief. It creates that feeling of, I can freaking do this. I got a handle on this. I got this. That's why this is so important. This last month, my clients and I, we've been doing a whole rewiring transformation like challenge, and it's been profound. And I think a lot of the clients are going to keep it going after the challenge is done because it's so powerful. So I really suggest if you don't yet, get up a little bit earlier or just set some time up for your morning, like at least 30 minutes or so, where you can just do the inner work. If that's journaling, if that's meditation, if that's a nature walk, if that's listening to a podcast or a YouTube video, whatever you can do to set yourself up for success. Because if you can win the morning, you will win the day, right? So that morning ritual puts you in that higher state of being. And then your goal is just to stay in that higher state as much as possible and then just keep practicing. Mind you, okay, a lot of you are like, well, or not a lot of you, but a lot of people are often like, well, Caden, meditation doesn't work for me. I always drift off, or I can't stay still, or I got ADHD. And my answer is like, yeah, that's exactly why you need to meditate times two, because it's a skill, right? It's a skill that we have to practice, constantly bringing ourselves back to the present moment and not chasing those thoughts. Okay, not every day you're going to be good at it, but you will get better at it, and eventually you're going to fall in love with it because it feels so good. So that's why you want to set yourself up for success before the stress happens, because we don't want to go into stress already stressed out and under control. So let's control ourselves, let's get ourselves up for success. And then I added the sleeping well because that's your hormones, right? We want to respect our hormones as much as possible because that makes it easier as well. If you don't sleep well, that's going to mess with your cortisol levels and your hunger hormones as well. Okay, so your leptin and your ghrelin, those are your hunger hormones. And if we don't sleep well, those are messed up. Those are wacky. We're going to have cravings more. And that's just going to make it so much harder, right? So these are why these are all so important. Okay, if you're at work and you're dealing with it, you can do current, like present meditation. And that's where you just do a grounding exercise. And that's where you want to use all your senses. What am I seeing right now? What am I hearing right now? What am I smelling right now? What am I feeling right now? And and focusing on that breathing. And if you do that just for a minute or so, that will help you ground it. Also, another cool hack is if you're ever stressed out and worried, right? This is how powerful your mind is, okay? If you just close your mind and you think of yourself smiling, okay? So you guys can do it right now. If you think of yourself smiling and you just think of it and you keep thinking and keep thinking it, eventually you're going to want to smile. It's really weird how it works, but it's super, super cool. So that is why I hope this makes sense, guys, but that's why it's controlling the before is so important. Okay. Now, the next part is being your own best friend. One of the biggest things I coach and teach my clients is the relationship that we have with ourselves and our mindsets and our mental health, because this is what's going to keep you moving forward long term, right? Anybody, it's not impressive to just lose weight and gain it back, right? Anybody can do that. We go starve ourselves, we do a chicken broccoli diet, cool. But in order to make long term sustainable changes, you need to love the person you're working on, right? Who wants to help someone they hate? Who wants to help someone they don't like? No, instead, we want to get away from them. We want to distract ourselves. We want to procrastinate, right? We want to cover up from them. But when you truly look at this journey as this is a journey of not punishment, I'm not judging myself. I'm not this identity. I'm not this number on the scale. No, I'm so much more than that. I love myself and I want the best for myself. And that's why I'm doing this. It's like the SMP me. I'm all in on me, right? So that's why you need to be your own best friend. And when I say be your own best friend, oftentimes a lot of us are the opposite. What do you do when you mess up? Do you talk yourself out of it and say, hey, it's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. You have 364 other days. One bad day is not going to ruin your journey. Or do you go, oh my God, you're not good enough. You suck. This is what happens every single time. I told you you wouldn't be able to lose this weight. What are you doing? Right? See the difference? It's like I shared this example with one of my clients. It's like if you wake up in the morning and you have a partner and instantly as soon as you wake up in the morning they're like, I hate you, you're not good enough, you suck, I hope you have a horrible day. Gosh, that's not going to be fun, right? You're not going to have a good day. That's going to be very hard. It's going to be very tough. But if you wake up and your partner's like, I love you so much, you're going to win this day, I'm right here with you, let's go, let's go, let's go, you're going to crush this, you look fantastic, you're going to be like, holy crap, I just can't wait to get going. You might be like, hey, get away from me, you're a little clingy and too annoying. But still, you guys get what I mean. That's like it is with the relationship with ourselves, right? Make it a very good place to be in your mind, because at the end of the day, it's you and you only. So now be your own best friend. Accountability and no guilt tripping. Keep yourself accountable, right? You got to keep yourself accountable. And that's simply reflection, looking back. Okay, how did I do? What went wrong? Why did it go wrong? Simply just taking the time to reflect, right? And then not guilt tripping. Remove the emotion. When I say that, remove the emotion from this, as in look at this as just no judgment. We're just reviewing, right? It's like looking at stock. There's no emotion. You're just kind of reviewing it. You're looking at what the graph is showing you. Same thing with your weight loss, same thing with your transformation, your progress. Just look at it as I'm just hold myself accountable. How did I do this week? I give myself a 3 out of 5. Okay, how can I make this a 5 out of 5 this week? What do I got to focus on? That's how we do it. When we can remove that whole crap of like, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you're going to fail, blah, blah, blah. This journey comes 100 times easier. I can promise you that. That's why that inner work is so important. Okay, removing that fog, that blah out of it. So next one is picking yourself up and not beating yourself down. Right, the inner state reflects our outer actions. Okay, our inner state reflects our outer actions. All right. My clients know this one. I'll share this with you guys though. There's a method to this on how this all works for the thoughts and the emotions. Okay. And it all comes from your beliefs. So the beliefs that you have about yourself, right, will cause the thoughts that you constantly have about yourself. A thought held on for over 7 seconds will produce an emotion. The emotion that you're feeling will influence how you take action, and the actions will get you the results, and the results will reinforce the original belief system. So an example is, here's an example, everyone knows this example, like if you're religious, right? So if you believe in God and you go to church, so first of all, it's the belief, you believe in God. The thoughts, well, I love God, I'm so thankful, all the thoughts about God and the blessings. And then the feeling is you feel loved, you feel safe, when you think of God, and you feel good. And then the actions that you're going to, or sorry, yeah, so that's the emotions. And then the actions, you're going to go to church, right? You're going to go to church, you're going to pray, you're going to have that relationship with God, and then that will produce the results. You will have a better relationship. So that's how it all works. Same thing with weight loss. If you believe, I have a client right now who made a massive breakthrough recently, or she's on the road to making a massive breakthrough, that's for sure. And she had a belief where she can't heal herself. She can't fix herself. Okay. No matter what I do, I can't change. That was her belief. And she was sharing, like, well, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. I tried this. I tried that. I tried this. I tried that. And it all came back from the belief system because your brain doesn't want to be wrong. Your brain will prove you right every single time. That's why the saying is true of if you believe you can, you will. And if you believe you can't, you will. You will always prove yourself right. So it comes back to that belief system. And the thought she would have is, I can't change. I will be stuck forever. Right. And you can imagine how that would make her feel. Very doubtful, very hopeless. She wouldn't feel motivated and excited to change if she's feeling that way. Right. So that's going to influence her actions. She's not going to show up motivated. She's not going to want to take as much action because she doesn't believe she can change. And then that's going to produce the results, right? Which is no change. And that will reinforce that original belief system of I can't change. But if she would think, if she believes, and she will, and she is now, that I can change and everything does work out for me, and she's going to think that way, she's going to be more positive thinking, all right? And she's going to find evidence, and she found so much evidence in her life. Well, I guess I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and she was kind of getting happy over it. And then you're going to feel better. You're going to feel better, like, oh my gosh, wait, things actually do work out for me. Oh my gosh, this is cool. Like things actually do work out for me. So she's going to feel good. And now guess what? She's going to want to take action. She's going to want to be like, oh my gosh, I feel so good right now and things are working out for me. I can't wait to show up tomorrow and freaking crush my workout because things do work out for me. And guess what? She's going to get new results. Isn't that freaking cool? So, so cool. Y'all got to join the CH family if you like this stuff. If you want to learn more. You love that. Mrs. Paramita, awesome. I love that. I'm glad that you love that. So that'd be from your own best friend. Now let's talk about, I hope I'm not boring you guys all yet. So now step number four is becoming flexible. So now that we have an understanding of the numbers, now that we have structure, now that we heal the relationship, now we can practice flexibility. Some of my clients might be watching this and be like, oh, that's why you're doing what you're doing with me. Because there's kind of a framework to this. So number four, becoming flexible is number one, the 7-day average rule. The 7-day average rule is a game changer. This is going to help you feel so much better if you have one bad day, 2 bad days during your week. This is going to make sure that you don't sabotage that entire week and you get right back on track and freaking crush it. So number one is the 7-day average rule. Your 7 days worth of calories consumed, total calories consumed, must hit your goal. Make this a non-negotiable. My 7 days of calories this week, Monday to Sunday, must be aligned overall to hit my goal. If you can just focus on that one thing, you will lose weight every single week. And your calorie goal is what we went over above, right? So here's an example. Let's say the calorie goal is 1674, right? Like the lady above, not me, the lady above. Monday, 1,800 calories, we'll say. Tuesday, we had 1,400 calories. Wednesday, we had 1,544. You guys see the numbers, so I don't have to explain them. Thursday. So you see they're up and down. Saturday, oh my gosh, I messed up, coach. I had too much pizza because you eat pizza, so I wanted pizza, and I had chocolate milk, and I ate 2,500 calories. Oh my gosh, I'm only supposed to eat 1,674. What do I do? Right? And then Sunday's 1,400. So we could think that way, but if we look back on the 7 days from Monday to Sunday, that total was 11,718 calories because I just took all those numbers, add them together, right? Then you divide that by 7 and look at that, 1,674. So even though you quote unquote messed up Saturday, you're still going to lose weight because your calories were aligned overall in the 7 days. And this is so helpful, I've noticed, because if you do have that bad start to the week where you did eat out because you didn't get groceries, or if you did have that bad one day, it helps you feel so much better because it doesn't feel like you lost all progress. You still have time to navigate and be flexible to work around things to get back on track. That's why this is so important here, is respecting that 7-day average rule. Okay? So just know you have a bad day. If you mess up, it's all good because you can get back on track. If you have a bad week, you got next week. If you have a bad month, you got next month. That's the mindset. That's the winning mindset, right? Is I'm going to win no matter what. Doesn't matter what's happening. I'm going to show up for myself no matter what, and I will make it work. Because I always say this, you guys must be bored of this by now, but you hang around the barbershop long enough, eventually you're going to get a haircut, right? So let's move onwards. So that's number one. Number two is macro for macro swaps. So if you ever want to make swaps in your plan, so if you have a consistent plan that you're following and you're finding that you're the type of person that gets bored easily and you want variety, do the macro for macro. Very simple. but it's helpful. Protein for protein, carb for carb, fat for fat. Okay, rules are you never ever want to swap out a protein and then add in a carb, right? If you're gonna have, let's say, ground beef and rice, you never want to have potatoes and rice. You never want to take the protein out of the picture. Protein must stay in the picture no matter what. Another little small tip for you guys as well is if you do count calories, if you do like to count calories, make sure you eat at least 30% protein a day. That will make your weight loss so much easier to strive for that one goal there. Little tip if you're counting calories. But protein for protein, carb for carb, fat for fat. What this means, this week I don't really want ground beef. Well, I'll just swap that out with turkey. And I just got to Google it or use my fitness pal of the calories, and then I just got to line them. Boom, there we go. Now I have variety. I changed it up. It's awesome. I don't want rice this week, so I'm going to have quinoa. Boom, there we go. Calories, make sure the calories are still the same. Swap the carb for carb. Don't stress about it too much. You're good to go, right? Just always make sure that when you're swapping it, the calories are still aligned, okay? And same for fat for fat. Now, I would say it's okay if you want to swap out, like take away a carb and add another protein, or if you want to take it a fat and add another protein. Like, for example, if you're at a restaurant and you really don't want to have a cheat meal, or you just don't want to have that unhealthy, like, if you don't want to have a fry or something like that, you could ask the waiter or the waitress, say, hey, can you swap the fries out for an extra piece of salmon instead if you're having salmon? And they will often do it. They'll just double up your protein and not give you the side, and boom, there you go. So if you're ever eating out and you really want to stay on track, little tip for you there. Number 3 is simple adjustments. So simple adjustments here are, number 1, fasting days here and there. So one of our clients, Amanda, right from the start, you guys saw her at the start on the left there. She's really good with this. She incorporates fasting days sometimes on her Mondays, most of the time, and she loses weight so easily now. And she used to have a tough relationship with her food, and now she's just on fire. Like, she's losing weight, like it's expected. It's crazy. She's on fire. But she does really good with those fasting days here and there. Fasting days is just basically you do 24 hours of no food. You can have water, honey, salt, stuff like that. And you just add it in once in a while, once a month, once every 2 weeks, whatever feels best for you. Of course, don't do it, 2 times in a week and then do that every single week. You could, but again, you just got to know yourself. And what I mean by knowing yourself, guys, is that you got to be very careful here on this one. Because if you do know that you have a very bad relationship with food or an eating disorder, your mind might just say, hey, well, I can eat like crap tonight. Crap as in I can have cheat meals and treats. And I will just do a 24-hour fast tomorrow. And that's what you have to be careful of. You don't want to get caught in that pattern because that's not healthy, right? But when it's intentions based and it's in control, where I've been doing great on my plan, and I want to do a full 24-hour fasting day, awesome. It's controlled, it's intentional, and you feel good. It's the easiest way to cut calories. If you think about it, let's say your TDEE is 2,400 calories, right? So if you exercise still that day, but you just cut out all the food, guys, you just cut out 2,400 calories right there. Boom. That's almost a pound, right? You're about 1,100 calories off 1 pound that week. So that's why a fasting day here and there is so powerful. When I lost 40 pounds, I'm currently still losing and shredding. I do this once in a while. I do this once in a while on a Sunday or Monday, just do a fasting day, and it's just boom, it's perfect. So that's another way to go. Of course, you got to know yourself, right? And if you're on medication and stuff, just be very careful. Number 2 is fast in the morning. So this is just if you messed up, you went overboard one night, or if you had some cheat meals, and your calories went up, and you're trying to get your 7-day average on track, just cut out breakfast, right? Cut out breakfast, and then just have your lunch and dinner still. So cut out breakfast for maybe 1 or 2 days to get back on track. Simple adjustment. 3, cut the carbs and eat higher protein. So the next day, cut out your bread in the morning, just have the eggs. Cut out your rice, just have your whatever you're having, steak and protein or wraps or whatever you want. And just cut out the carbs as much as possible and focus on the protein. If you're trying to make adjustments, if you did go overboard or you need to get back on track, right? As you can see here, it's all about empowering you to have control, because food is 90% of weight loss and a lot of health issues. So if you can control the food, you know how to navigate the numbers and do the workarounds. I really recommend to watch this masterclass a few times. But if you can do that, and then we don't have the emotional baggage and we don't have the unhealthy relation with our food, you guys, you're going to get there 100%. But mind you, I want to let you know, like, I don't want to give you the expectation that you're going to get there in 3 months and master your food. Sometimes everyone's different, right? I've been doing this over 8 to 9 years. So, like, that's another thing. Don't compare yourself to other people. Stay in your own lane because you don't know what other people are going through. You don't know what they're all about. Stay in your own lane, focus on you, and that's all that matters. And if it takes a year, if it takes 2 years, it doesn't matter. Because how long have you been feeling this way and suffering this way and not liking where you're at? How many years have these habits been going on? How many years has this weight been slowly climbing? Right. So if it takes, again, if it takes a year, it doesn't matter because once you get through it, a year isn't that long. And once you get through it and you're finally there, you will live the rest of your life in control. Never worry about your health, your weight, your body ever again. Right. And mind you, when you have help, of course, it's going to be speed up like 10x. That's the power of getting help in one-to-one coaching is, you pay to get help and it speeds up the time and the learning, right? And you get there. I mean, our clients are right now are like 90% success rate, but you get there much faster, much, much faster. So that is the power of this. And that's what I really want to empower you guys to do is number one, understand the numbers, how this stuff works. Number two, build that structure into your life, right? Number three is then you want to, after you build a structure, you want to heal the relationship with your food, the understanding. And then number four is the true mastery. Okay? True mastery. So I will answer the question there. I still this in a second here. So that is, let me see here, zooming out here. So yes, that is it. Now you got to show up for yourself every single day. No more plan Bs, no more quitting, right? Just think of this. Let me just keep it simple as possible. There's a statistic that 90% of people who lose weight gain it back. What is the one thing they all have in common? They all gave up. They all quit, right? They're all too hard on themselves. They tried drastic changes that didn't last them. If you guys do this, you will be the 10%. You will make it. You will get through this. And I promise you, all the work, all the sweat you put in, you will love it all at the end. It will all pay off. I can't tell you how good it feels to be able to wake up and you feel amazing in your clothing. You feel good in your skin. You feel like you're glowing in light. You're shining. Your health is on track. Your energy is nonstop going. And of course, the confidence and everything. But you just feel like the person that you've always been wanting to feel like. You feel more like yourself. And that is the key. That's everything, guys. Treat it like everything. Don't just treat this like a side project or a hobby, right? Treat this like everything because what is it? It is everything. It is you, it is your health, it is your mental health, it is your fitness, your weight, it is everything. So treat this like everything. Make this a part of who you are and what you do. Kelly's probably smiling to that one. It's who she is and what she does. So that is it, guys. Now, if you did enjoy this, but you do feel like you might need some, help, if you want that extra guidance, you need clarity in your journey, or you just love this so much that you want to join the CH family, there is a link in the chat that you can book a chat. And mind you guys, don't hop out yet because we're going to do a Q&A and stuff like that. But I'm just giving you the offer for help. If you guys do want help, you click that link there. You can actually have a chat with one of my clients, Kelly, and she's down 50 plus pounds right now. It's crushing. She's right there in the corner with the red tank top.